As students progress to more difficult texts, there may be features of those texts that make them more challenging to understand. In this video clip, you'll see excerpts from a close reading lesson in which Wiley Blevins focuses on helping students understand several features of complex text. The features he addresses include author's purpose, difficult vocabulary, and sentence structure. As the class rereads the text together, notice that Mr. Blevins asks guiding questions to generate discussion, relates meaning back to the students' experiences in the real world, and frequently partners students within the whole group setting to further engage them in the text.
Now, Guillermo shared with us a really interesting fact from the story that when Philo's father took him to see that train, he was afraid at first. Why do you think the author wanted to tell us that? Talk to your partner and see if you can figure out why the author might have wanted to tell us that.
No, that last weekend, even though she really liked mechanical stuff, he wasn't really sure about what it was.
I want Lauren to share one of her ideas for why she thinks he was scared, because I think it's really insightful. Lauren.
I thought it was kind of interesting because he invented so many good things, and then you would never think he'd be nervous when he was little.
Yeah, it was surprising that here this great inventor was afraid of something that he was going to someday learn so much about and tackle. Exactly. I think that's one of the reasons, because it makes Philo feel more human to us, doesn't it? We can relate to him, because there are things that scare us when we're very young. Okay, why did the author make a point to talk about things like telephones and phonographs? What was so special about these two inventions that gives us a hint that Philo might create, excuse me, the TV someday?
Well, they kind of contributed to his want to learn about knowledge, so it kind of contributed to it.
What was it that fascinated him about these two inventions in particular?
Just about how they can make noise and stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons too is not only was he fascinated by the noise, but these were inventions that brought people closer. Remember, Philo lived far from his friends and relatives, and so the telephone brings us very close, even though we can't physically see someone. The phonograph, everyone would gather around and listen to this music. What do we do when a TV show is on with our families? We gather around, we watch it together. It brings people close together, and this was an idea that was really important to Philo. There are a couple words on this page that I think could be potentially confusing. I want to make sure that we all understand them because they're important to the story. And the first one is generator. So look in the second paragraph for the first instance where we see what a generator is, or we hear about a generator. And I want you to see if you can find some context clues that would help us figure out what a generator is or what a generator does. Angelica, give us one clue.
It says that a generator ran the lights and the water heater.
So what do you think a generator is based on that clue?
I think the lights and the heat and it.
What do they need to run?
Electricity.
Do you guys agree with that? Mm-hmm. So a generator is something that generates or makes electricity. There was another word, that last sentence is that Philo bombarded him with questions. If I bombard you with questions, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
That means you just keep asking. You won't stop asking them questions, or you won't stop throwing balls at them. You're bombarding balls at them.
Yes, I'm asking lots of questions very, very rapidly. Can you think of a word that means the same, a synonym for bombarding? Guillermo?
Rapidly.
Rapidly doing what?
Asking questions.
Great. Now, who is someone that you bombard with questions? Bryce, who do you bombard with questions?
My dad.
So he knows a lot about a lot of things. So we bombard people with questions who know more than we do about something we're interested or curious in. Correct? Great. Look at the bottom of this page. There are these special marks at the bottom of the page. Does anyone know what they are called? We've seen them once before, but they have kind of a funny name. You might not remember. It's called an ellipses. Anyone heard that word before, ellipses? Normally, When an author uses an ellipses, it's when a speaker, like their voice is trailing off, so they don't complete their idea. But it can also be used to create the sense of suspense. The fact that this is at the bottom of the page makes us want to do what? Yes, it makes us want to turn the page to see what's coming next. So it does create a moment of suspense. There's an idea there that hasn't been completed. It's interesting to look for these techniques that authors use.